talking about power, carnal. The only way for us to gain real power is for black and brown to come together. ¿Me entiendes?
Just because you're a cop and I'm a con doesn't mean we can't cooperate. I can give you tips from inside that can really help you out in the street. You got a lot of power out there.
Missing man's wife jailed, boy also held. Seeking to pierce the mystery surrounding the disappearance of a laborer 5 months ago, the sheriff's office yesterday arrested the man's wife, Elvira Rojo, 30, of 4549 Michigan Avenue, East Los Angeles, and Joe Morgan, 16. The missing man is Jose Rojo, who dropped from site September 16, 1945. The inquiry was launched at the instance of his brother Alphonse, of 934 South Record Street, who believes Jose was murdered. Lieutenant John Morrell and Deputy Sheriff Joe Dennis, conducting the inquiry, said that Morgan recently escaped from a camp, where he was held as a juvenile delinquent. He was declared to have been living at the Rojo home since a few days after Rojo disappeared. Both Mrs. Rojo and Morgan were booked on charges of suspicion of murder. An additional charge of violating his parole was filed against Morgan. The Los Angeles Times, Los Angeles, California, February 28, 1946, Thursday, page 2, article titled, "Suspect Gets Out of Jail by Signing Youth's Name." The subtitle of the first segment of the article is, "Jump from Auto on Way to Camp, Completes Escape," and goes as followed. While investigators were finding a human tooth that may have belonged to the man he was suspected of murdering, Joseph Morgan, 16, of 4549 Michigan Avenue, yesterday had escaped from the county jail by the simple procedure of answering to another prisoner's name and then forging that name on a booking slip. The youth, who made his escape from the county jail, the second clean getaway made from the place in a week, was arrested February 19. On suspicion of murder, and as an incorrigible delinquent. Arrested with him was Mrs. Elvira Rojo, of the Michigan Avenue address, who also was booked for suspicion of murder, and for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. They were arrested because of the strange disappearance of Jose Rojo, 52, the woman's husband, last September 16. Young Morgan moved into Mrs. Rojo's home shortly afterward. The next portion of the story is subtitled, "Replies for Another, Tuesday Night." According to Chief Jailer Robert Fisher, Morgan answered to the name of William R. Westbrook, 16, of 710 South St. Louis Street, when officers arrived to transport Westbrook from the county jail to the county forestry camp at Mount Baldy. "What are you in for?" inquired the booking officer, as Deputy Probation Officer John Snyder waited for his prisoner. "Burglary and escape," replied Morgan correctly in his role of Westbrook. Then, Joseph Morgan signed Westbrook's name to the booking slip. Snyder put Morgan, who was not handcuffed, into his car. At Colorado Street and San Fernando Boulevard in Glendale, on the way to the camp, Morgan leaped out of the car and fled. This next portion of the Los Angeles Times February 28, 1946 article is subtitled, "Prisoner Threatened," begins as followed. Later, county jail attendants learned that when Morgan entered the jail, he approached Westbrook, whom he resembles, and announced that he would be Westbrook's cellmate. Then, Westbrook related, Morgan sedulously practiced Westbrook's signature and mannerisms, and studied his background. He threatened Westbrook with a gang beating if his plans for the impersonation were disclosed. When the opportunity arose, his plan worked. Our final portion from this article is subtitled, "Inquiry Reopened." Although the suspicion of murder had been lifted from both Morgan and Mrs. Rojo, in the investigation of the disappearance of the latter's husband was renewed yesterday, at the request of the Mexican consulate here, which was asked to intercede by Rojo's sister Romana, of Chihuahua, Mexico. As a result, deputies sifting ashes in the Rojo incinerator yesterday found what was believed to be a human tooth. The discovery immediately prompted a thorough search of the premises, in the belief that the missing man's body may be buried there. Deputies were conscious of the fact, meanwhile, that finding of the missing man would create a unique situation: a missing man found, and a found suspect missing. Daily News, Los Angeles, California, dated March 8, 1946, Friday. Page 2. In the jail ward at General Hospital was Joe Morgan, 16-year-old escapee of February 26, and second in a series. He was recaptured yesterday by staked-out deputies with the aid of a .38 caliber slug fired into his right leg. Still in the hospital on his stomach was Lieutenant E.M. Renfro, who was shot in the posterior while trying to recapture the third escapee of the series. Morgan was surrounded in a shack on a wrecking lot at 126 and Ford Boulevard, and shot by Deputy Ernie Silves when he tried to open the door and run for it. Silves yelled halt 3 times, and then fired the shot into the boy's leg. Detectives had received a phone call that Morgan had been seen this morning in the neighborhood of the wrecking yard. 4 investigators were sent to the district and traced Morgan down by a half-empty milk bottle he had been seen carrying and had left in view on the wrecking lot. "I've had enough of this," said the 16-year-old boy from his cot in the hospital jail ward. When asked if he thought he would escape again, Morgan has escaped from custody 3 times, once from a county forestry camp, once from the probation officer at juvenile hall, and the 3rd time from the county jail, when he took another prisoner's booking slip and walked out. Morgan had been arrested originally in connection with the disappearance of Jose Rojo, member of a prominent Mexican family. Morgan had been boarding with Ms. Rojo.
But the drugs, whoever controls them controls everything. You ever seen an old drug dealer, Miko? They don't exist. Look, all we have to do is wait. In 5 years, Chicanos are going to be the majority in the Pintas in the Southwest.
This is now, not 5 years from now. What good is it for a bunch of fucking slaves working for the BJ and 8 years? We gotta attack now, we gotta take power.
Look, all we ever been doing is fighting each other. And for what? The best of us setting up in pools of blood. For a pinche peck of smokes and a snort of coca. Chale!
I don't know where you're coming from, bro.
During an escape attempt, sometime in the 60s, he cut his leg, and they patched him up, but gangrene set in. He lost his leg, and that's how he got the nickname Peg Leg.
On February 24, 1961, Joe Morgan led a mass escape from the LA County Jail. He was the ringleader of 12 inmates who escaped after a jail lock was picked. Joe and other inmates managed to crawl through a pipe shaft using tools hidden in Joe's artificial leg. Later, after being arrested, his prosthesis was found to contain several hacksaw blades and a launcher.